It's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
And for those who cry about the death of democracy, let me share what the death of democracy really is, what it really constitutes, and how it actually looks. Well, viewers of Republic, there has been violence, yes, violence during a meeting of the Joint Parliamentary Committee during the Wakf Bill in the Parliament premises today. Violence during a Joint Parliamentary Committee meeting where one of the Trinamool MPs, so loyal to Mamta, got so furious, so angry that he was being stopped when he was repeatedly interrupting another speaker, that he picked up a bottle and broke it in anger inside the Parliament premises. And there he is, that great man, being taken out, bandaged like he's some kind of a hero. It's an act of lumpenism. This act of breaking a glass bottle was aimed, and those are the pictures of the glass shards all around. This is happening in our Parliament, viewers. He wanted to break the bottle and maybe throw it, the broken bottle, at a BJP MP, also from Bengal, who happens to be a former judge, who was objecting to his interruptions. So this is what we are living to see. MPs breaking bottles, injuring themselves, blood all over, bandages being put, and that's what we are paying taxes for. Imagine, viewers, imagine if this MP had gone and taken that broken bottle and ended up assaulting another MP with a broken glass bottle, there would be blood on the Parliament floor. It could be a very serious situation. Now, this is a near repeat to the same behavior, the abusive rant that controversial MP Mohua Moitra went on earlier, and her misbehaviour during an earlier Parliament committee meeting to discuss charges of corruption against her. Here she is, defiant after the way in which she behaved. This is behaviour. Again, it was from a Trinamool India Alliance MP. And yesterday, another India Alliance MP, a Samajwadi MP, used a cuss word against the sitting Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. Viewers, what's going on? I don't want to preach about propriety. This is not a preachy channel, you know that. But all I want tonight, that when I open the phone lines, I want to hear your loud protest and anger tonight. So let's open the phone lines. I will open the lines because I want you to protest and shout so loud that your voice reaches the halls and galleries of Parliament, where blood was nearly spilled today by the people, by the same people, the very same people, the very same individuals who scream about the death of democracy. Let's debate.
Violence, glass bottles smashed, and bandages on TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee's hand. There was huge ruckus at the Joint Parliamentary Committee meeting on the Waqf floor in the national capital today. This after TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee and BJP MP Abhijit Ganguly got into an altercation over some provisions of the proposed law.
Mr. Banerjee, what would you like to say? Why have you been... Please tell. Mr. Banerjee, what happened? Mr. Banerjee, why have you been suspended? Is it because of your unruly behavior?
Nothing anything happened in the JPC can be said.
Is it because of your unruly behavior that you have been suspended? Mr. Banerjee?
TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee few minutes later was seen with bandage on his right hand and was escorted out by AAP MP Sanjay Singh and AIMIM Chief Asauddin Owaisi. Medical reports say that he was treated for a 1.5 centimeter long cut on his right thumb and a cut on his little finger. The TMC MP has been suspended for a day from the JPC's proceedings for unruly conduct.
ये पार्लियामेंट का मामला है। हमने श्री ओम बिरला जी को फ़ोन पे घटना के तत्काल बाद उनको अवगत करा दिया है और उनको मतलब क्योंकि इतनी बड़ी घटना थी, हमें हाउस को जेपीसी की मीटिंग पहली बार हमको एडजर्न करना पड़ा मजबूरी में, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से वहाँ घटना हो गई थी, जिस तरह से पूरी बोतल टूटी थी और सारी चीज़ें हो गई, सब लोग हतप्रभ रह गए थे।
With INDI leaders' anarchic display of disagreement, the question is, can the opposition not handle the Waqf truth?
Atikur Rahman, Tausif Khan is from the TMC. He'll be joining us on that window. Abdul Razak, pro-Congress. Prafulla Ketkar, right-leaning RSS author. And Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP. Now, here's a situation. Viewers, and let's open the phone lines. Here's a situation. A person is speaking. Another person wants to interrupt. He interrupts 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. 5th time, somebody tells him, don't interrupt. He takes a bottle, he breaks it. The bottle breaks. There's blood all over. There's blood, broken bottle. Now some people are saying that he was going to throw the broken bottle, or maybe some people say he was in such a rage, he was going to assault another MP with a broken bottle inside a parliament premises. So then there could have been a situation where 2 or 3 MPs would have been in a hospital today. And here he is, he's being held by Asaduddin Owaisi like he has won a gold medal for India. Look at this. Yes, Mr. Tausif Khan of the TMC, please.
First of all, Arnab, I think you should be sensible enough not to trivialize this matter.
I'm not trivializing it.
And no, by saying that he has won a gold medal and a fellow MP who is helping him to walk, and you are making fun of it. It does not behave of anyone.
Why he can't walk? Does he walk with his fingers?
Like you. No,
Does he walk with his fingers?
You are wrong,
they were giving him soup, making him walk like he has done some philanthropic activity.
You are wrong. Except that yes, it was.
Did he break the bottle? Did he break the bottle?
Secondly,
did he break the bottle? Did he break a glass bottle?
Mr. Kalyan Banerjee is a designated senior who appears.
Oh, come on, yeah. Designated senior, respectable, honorable, magnificent, super, fragilistically wonderful, enlightened, literate, erudite, civilizationally superior, blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested. Why did he break a bottle?
Why Abhijit Ganguly should speak in a JPC? What kind of stakeholder is he? What has he got on stake?
Why should a fellow MP speak? Okay, Prafulla Ketkar is on the debate. Prafulla Ketkar coming to you. Prafulla.
Who are you to decide this? This is the Joint Parliamentary Committee. Every citizen, every stakeholder has a right to make a representation. This is not Bangladesh, Mister. This is if you are ruling in Bengal, this doesn't mean entire India has become a Bangladesh. This is not an Islamist rule.
What property
Still
has
Indian Constitution.
Prafulla Ketkar, louder, please. Prafulla Ketkar.
How is he a stakeholder?
Every stakeholder has a right to make a representation. Every NGO will make, every legal authority will make, every Indian citizen can make. You have grabbed the land in the name of what? Have you read Malapatti report? Have you read Malapatti report? I have read now. The similar kind of scam is there in Bengal, and that's why they don't want amendments in Wakf Board bill.
Okay, now the fact is, Tausif, I began with you. The fact also is a bottle was broken. The fact also is, and I get in Sanju right now, I get in Razak, I get in Atikur, but the fact is tonight that when another MP spoke, this MP broke a bottle, and I'm told was looking menacingly at the other MP. Now, what if this MP who broke the bottle and ended up bleeding would have attacked the other MP inside Parliament?
Why should Abhishek speak? The BJP MP should just shut up. Why has he to
Oh,
speak?
the BJP MP should shut up, otherwise we'll hit him with a glass bottle.
Look at the language of this radical jihadi.
This radicalized language.
Look at the language of this radical jihadi. Television debates par aakar, all that this guy does is behave like a
Razak and Sanju, please only.
lumpen goon.
The primary reason to constitute a JPC
But they say
is
the
to
apple does
listen to
not
the
fall far from the
opposition.
tree. And this man is following his newly minted
Please
mentor
allow
Rahul
me to
Gandhi's
speak, then you
footsteps.
can talk how
After
much
he
ever you
joined the
want,
Congress.
madam. Madam,
Why
in
are
fact,
we
even
asked
you
to
should
debate
shut
with
up.
this goon?
You should allow
He's
us
not
to
even an
speak.
official spokesperson of the Congress. He's a paid political analyst who's paid to spew venom on national television. Abhijit Bandyopadhyay.
Now you just
and
shut up,
Abhijit
madam.
Ganguly
Arnab, this is-
a sitting member of
this
the
is the
parliament.
behavior which
He has
cannot be
every right to
tolerated.
speak on issues of national interest.
Madam, you-
Point number 2. Why is Kalyan Banerjee
Arnab, you either
behaving like a
coordinate or
fool?
please, I will
Who
have to
asked
leave the
Kalyan
show.
Banerjee
This
to
is not the
smash a
way.
bottle,
This is
injure
not the
himself,
way.
and come menacingly at
Arnab, I am
Abhijit
not a paid
Ganguly
puppet. This is not the way.
from the BJP. Are you not a radical?
Arnab, I will have to leave the show. Please stop this woman from abusing.
Are you not
Arnab, you should stop this woman.
No, one point is,
Jihadi, all this.
my question is right now, 1 minute, Sanju, 1 minute.
I am
See,
not into all
Razak,
this
see,
rubbish.
Razak, the fact is the bottle was broken. 1. Second is, blood was spilt.
This shameless woman cannot be abusing.
Look at this. Look at
That
this
is irrelevant.
this man.
Arnab, this
You
shameless
both are
woman
getting
cannot be
personal. That's
abusing.
not the point. What we are here to debate is what we will debate.
Islamic
What we are here to
Just
debate is
because
what we will
I'm
debate.
Muslim.
And the question right now, the question and the only question right now, and I want to go to Atikur Rahman. The only question that I'm going to Atikur Rahman and Sanju right now is on the violence in Parliament, and that's my only point tonight. Atikur Rahman, look at the violence in Parliament. People are calling this evening. What's going on? Debate an issue, debate the Wakf Bill, debate anything, fight each other, but don't get to a point where you're going to injure each other physically. This was a very, and Sanju is back on the debate on the left with Atikur Rahman. This was a very dramatic situation and a situation of great concern. We have our first caller, Sanju on the left, and Sriram is calling in from Bengaluru. The pictures are on your screen of the violence during a Parliament committee meeting. Sriram, what do you think? I don't know if Sriram is on. Atikur, let me take your view. Atikur.
Arnab, I request if there is any bottle with either Sanju or Mr. Praful Ketkar, they should be removed, because the moment I say them that they are the radical Atankis, what will you tell me that I am provoking them? Who provoked Kalyan Banerjee?
Loudly.
And in what circumstances Mr. Kalyan Banerjee was provoked? Do we know that? Do we know the circumstances, what was going on in the JPC? We do not know any details, and we are just asking ourselves that why a bottle was broken. What if a panelist on your panel tells Mr. Abdul Razzaq Khan that he is a jihadi? And you are not stopping her to
He's
do
a jihadi.
Radical jihadi and she is a
Radical
radical
Islamist jihadis. Hindu
This is
women
not
who are victims of love.
The question is right now, Sanju, let's bring the focus back. You know, what happens is, Atikur, a question is given to you. Now let's address the question. You made your point. Now go to the question. The question is, 1 minute, Sanju. Let Atik come in, then I'll go. The fact is, there was a JPC meeting. Whatever the difference you may have among each other about the Wakf Bill or about the constituents of the Wakf Bill or what each other is saying or how many times who has interrupted whom, I cannot believe today that in my country's parliament, MP is breaking a bottle in a fit of anger and there's blood being spilt. You have to go through medical treatment. I mean, tomorrow, Atikur, you will take responsibility, or Razak, if he had taken that bottle and attacked the other MP with it.
The reason for constituting a JPC is to listen to the stakeholders, to listen to the opposition. Why should the BJP MP get...
How is a BJP MP not a stakeholder?
Islamist jihadis like you. You do not...
Again, you see, there's a problem. Don't do that. Don't do that,
It's all
Sanju.
about...
The national spokesperson of BJP, a shameless woman. You are a
This is not
shameless
the way of
radical
life. You please
jihadi.
ask her only to speak.
You are illiterate.
You're both.
You are a shameless woman.
Both of you are straying away
You are
from
a
the debate.
shameless woman.
Take them off here. 1 minute. No
Everybody knows
personal
your
comments
work.
will go. And I'm going to Tausif right now. Tausif C. Let's go back to the root issue. Let's go back. Keep quiet, Razak, and both of you. Both of you, no personal attack. I want to go to the issue. You're not helping me. The issue is of potential violence. Are you not concerned? I want to know who's not concerned.
The issue is unfair. The issue is unfair hearing. Mr. Kalyan.
How do you assume it was an unfair hearing?
Raised a point that why
do you believe in constitution? Do you believe in free speech?
When he is
do
not
you
a
believe in
stakeholder?
parliamentary decorum?
We are talking about legislation and amendment in the Wakf Bill. And
do you
Abhijit
believe
Gangopadhyay is not a
Wakf Bill is a
stakeholder.
fraud?
Only
do you know how much land is grabbed by the Wakf board?
Ask for an audience.
How much land given to the God? In the name of God, people are doing corruption.
Wakf property, even though I come from a community where Wakf properties are
all these people
by people, but and BJP MP who has got nothing to do with the Wakf property, he's coming and giving lectures in spite of not being a stakeholder, and that is why Mr.
Okay, we'll take a couple of callers now, viewers. The fact is, there is something called parliamentary decorum. Most of the viewers still would believe in, and I think what has happened today is bringing great disservice to that. And Sriram is calling from Bengaluru. I'll quickly take a couple of calls. Sriram, I'm sorry. I think you couldn't hear me the last time. What do you think? What do you think?
Right from the behavior of the people in your panel right now, it reflects their top attitude also. They need to have some shame. They need to maintain some decorum, which they do not, and making personal attacks. That itself reflects how they would have behaved in the JPC. Shame on them.
I take your point, Sriram. I take your point. Thank you for calling. Vasudev calling from Hyderabad. Hyderabad, what do you think, Vasudeva, about what happened in Parliament today?
That's correct. See, I agree with Mr. Sriram. See, the way your panel is, it is not the way to behave in a live TV show. No, this is not the way. Yes, you have thousands of opinions, but it should be discussed and debated. Not like this breaking glass and supporting breaking of this bottle, all those nonsense should not happen. At least these people should understand what is happening, what is a JPC meeting, who are all sitting there. See, these people are supposed to be allied people elected by the public. Is this the way these people are going to behave? I think what respect these people will have tomorrow with the youngsters who is coming next generation and third. They should feel ashamed of themselves. These people are very, very senior. The next generation will be their great grandsons or grandsons.
Vasudev, let me get Tausif to respond to you.
This is what they are going to show them.
Absolutely. I totally agree with your viewer. He raised a very valid point, which is when there are two people arguing. One is Abhijit Ganguly and the other is Kalyan Banerjee. But what is the chairman doing? When there is a provocation, when the chairman is not taking any action. So chairman
which
is biased.
provocation?
Just because...
So Sanju is responding now, please, to that. Sanju, Praful, 1 minute. Let Sanju respond to Tausif. 2 on the screen, please, ladies and gentlemen. On 2 to 1 minute.
Please make my points. This cannot be a two-to-member debate where we are abusing each other.
Why is Abhijit Ganguly not suspended?
Tausif, can I make my point? I heard you.
Okay, Tausif, she's responding to you. We're back on the subject. We're back on the subject. We're back on the subject in this last debate. Tausif, we are back on the subject.
Tausif, thank you. I have known you to be a sensible and sane debater. Let's keep it sane and sensible. I'm sure you're not like one of your abusive, brethren from the other side, Abdul Razak Khan, who calls women shameless. I'm sure that is the way he talks to his mother, his nieces, his sisters. I pity them that they have to tolerate him. But I will come to the moot point of the debate. The moot point of the debate is this. The first allegation is that the JPC is not doing its job under the chairperson Jagdambika Pal. That is absolutely false. While Jagdambika Pal is from the BJP and the chairperson, there are 31 members in this committee and more than 47% of the committee members are from the opposition parties. Point number 2, let's be very honest that Vice Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, Jagdeep Dhankar, and the Lok Sabha Speaker, Mr. Om Birla, both were abused by Kalyan Banerjee, saying that these two gentlemen don't know their job. I would request Kalyan Banerjee to go back. Can I just finish? I would request
please finish. He's responding to you.
Go back and read. Yes, I would request Kalyan Banerjee to go back and read Article 63 of the Constitution, which gives out details of Jagdeep Dhankar, the Vice Chairperson of Rajya Sabha's powers. And
very bad situation today. Viewers, a lot of viewers have lined up to call. I have to take them on air. Before Tausif responds, I'm getting Rohan from Mumbai. Rohan, what do you think about the violence at the JPC in Parliament today?
Yes, hi Arnab, good evening. First of all, it's extremely disturbing to see these kind of visuals. And this also sort of begs the larger question, what we are seeing in terms of this entire Waqf narrative, It's either being, with parliamentary MPs threatening themselves violence, or people saying they'll come out on the streets. I mean, what nonsense is going on in a democratic, so-called secular country?
Yeah.
And, this is absolutely unacceptable. And I'd also like to make a larger point to the BJP member that all eyes are on BJP. They better get this bill passed. They better get the amendment passed, because we are sick and tired of MPs embarrassing us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, while this is happening, we are just told a big breaking story right now. MEA briefing has been on. I don't know whether this is happening in Kazan or in New Delhi. And there's a confirmation that there will be an India-China bilateral in New Delhi, I'm told. I'm not sure about whether the location has been fixed yet or spoken, but this is a huge development where upcoming bilateral between Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping has been confirmed. I cannot confirm yet whether this bilateral will happen on the sidelines of the present BRICS meeting, which is on in Kazan, or whether it will happen separately. Big story. We are going to be looking at that at 10 o'clock. But Sheetal Mohan also calling in from Chandigarh. A lot of people calling tonight to this ongoing debate. Sheetal, what do you think about the violence in Parliament today, the breaking of bottles and all that?
Yes, hi. Good evening, Arnab.
Good evening.
It is actually very disturbing to see that such a thing is happening in the Parliament. Now the word comes like parliamentary language, unparliamentary language, and imagine where this Parliament is heading to. So it is a clear picture that if you allow people here on your channel, on your debate, if you give them bottles, they will also smash bottles.
Yeah, I fear sometimes. I actually do.
Yes, the pro-Congress correspondent just said that shameless woman to Sanju Verma.
Yeah.
Imagine if he could say that,
Razak
and he could not tolerate your saying that when you said that how Kalyan Banerjee is being escorted like a hero, and they could not digest that. And a simple comment by Sanju Verma was not even able, they were not able to take that. So on the channel, on such a channel, they are calling...
Razak, I hope you heard that.
Simple comment.
I hope you heard that.
Simple comment for you.
Simple comment,
that
shameless
simple
woman.
comment for you. Calling a Muslim jihadi.
Reference to gender.
Not every Muslim is a jihadi. I will not take this rubbish.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting between Narendra Modi...
Abdul Razak Khan, लोग आपको गालियां दे रहे हैं on national television for being an abusive.
People know.
Okay, viewers, 1 minute. No, we'll do Abhishek for 10 minutes between the two debates. Right now, on the JPC debate, I am personally horrified at the breaking of bottles. I've covered Parliament, but I must...
Arnab, opposition MPs were not given sufficient time. Arnab, opposition MPs were not given sufficient time.
Why do you keep getting this?
Jagdambika Pal, sitting there as a chief, is sitting with a prejudiced mindset. With a prejudiced mindset, you cannot listen to opposition.
I refuse to debate with this abusive man. Can I make my larger point on Mohua Moitra?
Everyone on, ladies and gentlemen, not one versus one right now. We need to move fast. We have 6 minutes on this debate. We need to make the most of it. Sanju, 1 minute. Sanju, finish your point, 30 seconds, then I get Praful and everybody here. Tausif, I'll come to you as well.
Should have been given sufficient time.
Understood, you made your point 7 times and you've been given sufficient time to make that point. Sanju, please conclude your remarks.
Let's be very clear that the Waqf amendment simply seeks to bring in accountability, bring in transparency. It wants to digitize land records. It wants to institute a legal mechanism so that nobody can indulge in brazen land grabbing. That is the most important point. There are many members from the minority community in the JPC, so it's not that the JPC
Why are you imposing two non-Muslims inside every Waqf board?
Which is a false allegation. Arnab, what is wrong with you? Can I please make my point?
Why should we tolerate non-Muslims in our boards?
Can you get this radical
Why should we tolerate non-Muslims in our boards?
Can you get this radical abuse?
And why should state governments control? Why should state governments control temple trusts? Why should state governments control temple trusts?
You quite question the government. This has been the tradition. Sir,
Which tradition? Which tradition? You say tradition. No, 1 minute, Sanjay, you made your point now. Now I must ask this question. They say the land belongs to us. They say the land belongs to us, and they say it is our land. Now my counter question to that is that are you now afraid that you will not be able to lay your claims on the Taj Mahal and the Surat municipal headquarters anymore? Are you now afraid that you will not be able to say that the Indira Gandhi International Airport and the land of the Indira Gandhi International Airport belongs to you as well?
Arnab,
we have not encroached any land. We have not claimed land without.
Yeah, you don't believe you encroach. You believe the land is yours. Others are encroaching on it. Okay, we have a response from Prafulla Ketkar right now. Prafulla, hot on the debate right now. Prafulla. One more call.
Razak knows very well the minority report in Karnataka had given a detailed record of Malapatti committee had given a detailed record of land grabbing. The land donated in the name of Allah has been grabbed by the Waqf member boards. They have leased it out. They have made a fraud out of it. The MC land has been grabbed.
Atik on the right of the JPC violence.
Like including Parliament and High Court have been
One more caller.
The fraud has been made by the board in the
It's all right, no problem. Okay, Razak is speaking. Razak.
Please, the land belongs to Waqf board.
They can't manage.
If and only if a Muslim has donated the land, only then we will say it is a Waqf land. Not because just we saw something, it is our. We don't claim lands.
Prafulla Ketkar on the debate. Prafulla Ketkar.
You can't earn money out of it.
It is all right. It's both.
You can't make fraud out of it. You can't.
It is not
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hot debate there tonight and the breaking news coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, please remember I'm cutting short the debate by 4 minutes. It's 9:28 p.m. And the big debate this evening, the big, huge breaking story is that there's going to be the first ever bilateral between Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping since the 2020 Galwan clash, which means that there has been significant progress for this bilateral to happen. Abhishek has latest on that big, huge breaking story. Abhishek.
Well, yes, the announcement was made by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri just a while back that yes, the two leaders, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping, would be meeting on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in a proper, full-fledged bilateral, which is the first after the 2020 chill that set in after what China did, breaking all understandings and agreements insofar as the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh is concerned. That's a huge diplomatic move coming in from both the sides. Arnab, also the Foreign Secretary confirmed again that the agreement that was announced yesterday by India and today by China actually creates a situation where it's status quo ante 2020 or April 2020 in Galwan, in eastern Ladakh.
And what messaging this is. This is fantastic messaging to the United States. This is fantastic and direct messaging to the United States. Abhishek.
Absolutely. This is India telling the United States specifically and the rest of the world generally that we are capable of handling our issues ourselves. We don't need props. We don't need any extra support. It's just that we follow an independent foreign policy.
Okay,
we looked in the eye so far as China's breach of law, international law, and China's breach of understanding and agreements with India is concerned.
Yeah.
We have handled it well. We have looked them in the eye and now it's resolved.
Brilliant, Abhishek. Now, Abhishek, I'm leading into that soundbite that made the news. That's going to be the huge headline all of tonight and tomorrow morning in the newspapers. Of course, who reads newspapers these days? It's all over when the news breaks on Republic. But this is what was said by Vikram Misri.
Yeah, I can confirm that there will be a bilateral meeting held between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping tomorrow, 23rd of October, on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. The exact time and other logistics are being worked out, but the meeting will take place tomorrow.
Something like that happens, it's got to go beyond the cosmetics. Abhishek, what do we expect to be on the agenda? At least a couple of things beyond what was announced yesterday about the partial resumption of patrolling and solving of the border issues in part. There has to be something more on the table.
On the agenda, of course, Arnab, would be tackling the elephant in the room insofar as India-China relationship goes, which is the balance of trade situation. It's so heavily in favor of China. Something needs to be done about it. Remember the economic survey which mentioned the possibility of India getting foreign direct investment from China and thus balancing this lopsided balance of trade situation, possibly a dialogue there. But remember, there was a total freeze on all aspects of the relationship, and hopefully there would be moves made towards normalization of that, including, for example, the changes in law that India had made to make sure that the Chinese companies, it's not easy for them to trade in India, do business in India, a lot of things. But also, before I leave, another important development, this is on the eastern front. On the western front, India has renewed its agreement on the Kartarpur corridor with Pakistan for the next 5 years. That's also big, which means we are sort of making sure that our borders are safe and there is no hot live border on both the sides.
Okay, so one last thing. What's in it for China? Tomorrow's meeting. What do they need to get out of it? What's in it for them?
Well, so far as China is concerned, or not, obviously, this is about China also sending across a message that they are also not the belligerent China that the world or the West tries to project. Obviously, there is business in their mind because their companies were struggling and India had made them pay the price, made them pay the costs of this military misadventure that some general might have planned. Obviously, we are not coming in from Xi Jinping at that time. Maybe the purposes have been achieved. Maybe India has sent across a message that there is no possibility of bullying us. The manner in which China gets away with, say, a Vietnam or a Philippines or a Taiwan. And so I think this is going back to the trenches and normalization, which perhaps is on the mind of Xi Jinping as well.
Move towards normalization. I'd say not normalization, move towards normalization. Abhishek, thank you very much. Big breaking story. See you at 10. Ladies and gentlemen, to our next debate. In 2023, Udayanithi Stalin, who is now the Deputy Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, said that he would eradicate Sanatan Dharma. In 2024, sometime back, he said, wait and watch, which meant see how I'm going to do it. And now the Tamil Nadu Deputy CM, Udayanithi Stalin, in an extremely defiant move, says he will not apologize for his comments on Sanatan Dharma. This anti-Sanatan rhetoric, anti-Hindu rhetoric is not going to go down well.
சனாதன எதிர்ப்பு மாநாடு என்று போடாமல் சனாதன ஒழிப்பு மாநாடு என்றும் நீங்கள் இதை போட்டிருக்கிறீர்கள், இதை அழைத்திருக்கிறீர்கள், இந்த நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு பெயரிட்டீர்கள். அதற்கு என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்கள். சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்கக்கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும். அப்படிதான் இந்த சனாதனம்.
First came the venomous hate rant against the Sanatan community. Then the Madras High Court dragged him in for his outrageous remarks. And yet, no shame, no remorse, and not an ounce of regret for his vile attack on an entire community. In fact, rather than holding him accountable, the Tamil Nadu government, led by his father MK Stalin, rewarded him with an elevation to Deputy Chief Minister post. And today, once again, he stands defiant, refusing to apologize for his hateful rant against Sanatan Dharma.
தந்தை பெரியார் கொடுத்த ஒரு குரலை தான், பேரறிஞர் அண்ணா கொடுத்த குரலை தான், நம்முடைய தலைவர் கலைஞர் கொடுத்த குரல் தான் நானும் சொன்னேன். இதற்கு தான் நான் சொன்னதா பொய்யா திருச்சி என் மீது தமிழ்நாட்டில் மட்டுமல்ல, இந்தியாவில் உள்ள பல நீதிமன்றங்கள்ல இப்போது என் மீது வழக்கு போடப்பட்டிருக்கு. என்னை நீதிமன்றத்தில் மன்னிப்பு கேட்க சொன்னாங்க. நான் சொன்னதுதான், நான் கலைஞர் பேர எதற்கும் மன்னிப்பு கேட்க மாட்டேன்னு நான் நீதிமன்றத்தில் அந்த வழக்கை சந்தித்து கொண்டிருக்கின்றேன்.
Slamming the disparaging remarks, the BJP called out INDI's anti-Hindu hate.
डीएमके के नेता उदयनिधि स्टालिन बोलते हैं कि सनातन बीमारी और सनातन के खात्मे के बयान पर वो कभी माफी नहीं मांगेंगे, चाहे सुप्रीम कोर्ट उन पर कार्रवाई भी कर ले। अब उद्धव सेना बताए हिंदुत्व और सनातन की बड़ी बातें करती है, इस प्रकार का कांग्रेस और डीएमके और सपा के साथ गठबंधन करेंगे, फिर आप हिंदुत्व के शेर नहीं, आप सेकुलरिज्म की और वोट बैंक की भीगी बिल्ली बन गए।
But the nation is watching. How long will such divisive rhetoric be tolerated?
How long will he continue to escape the consequences of his dangerous words?
So when a Deputy Chief Minister issues an open threat and a repeat of a threat and is proud of it, against over 80% of the population of Tamil Nadu, right? That is his plan. That's how I see it. That he is, by saying so, he's saying that my warning against Sanatan followers is something that I believe in. I believe he owes an apology because he has threatened Hindus. He has threatened the followers of Sanatan, and his vicious words have the potential to incite violence. He has deeply hurt the sentiments of the Hindu population of Tamil Nadu, Hindu population of Bharat. And he has critically injured the idea of freedom of religion of Hindus. He believes Hindus do not have a freedom of religion. And that is how I look at it. A. Ashwathaman and Pullarao, who is pro-DMK, are on the debate. A. Ashwathaman is a BJP spokesperson. What is the likely response, and why is he keeping on making these statements?
Sir, basic idea of Dravidar Kazhagam and the Dravida Munetra Kazhagam, that is DMK, is anti-Hindu, anti-Indian. They are even against freedom. In 1947, they are asking that their leader E.V. Ramasamy asked British to not to give freedom to my area, means this Dravida area. Actually, they are constructed their party in a fabricated racism. There is no race in the name of Dravidam. Scientifically, it's a place, not a race. But in this Sanatana issue, they used to say that, sir, Sanatana means Tamil Nadu, we are speaking about social justice. Entire India, Sanatana means Sanatan Dharma. They used to say that. But in the very issue, the very conference itself conducted, led by Udayanidhi Stalin, see the resolution. See the resolution of the Sanatana Ozhippu Manadu means Sanatan Eradication, Sanatan Dharma Eradication Conference, which led by Udayanidhi Stalin. The resolutions are: we should eradicate Ayudha Puja, we should eradicate Saraswati Puja, we should eradicate housewarming function followed by Ganesh Puja, we should eradicate rituals in puberty function, rituals in ancestors' rituals. I am asking, what is the connection between the social justice and the eradication of this kind of rituals? They are ideologically having vengeance against Hindus. The same Udayanidhi Stalin spoke, I am a proud Christian, in a Christian function. The same Udayanidhi says, I am going to eradicate Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is likely to be a mosquito, it's a HIV, it's a malaria. They have, the DMK people basically have their religious fanaticity. They are constructed, their party, their ideology constructed on fabricated racism. The word Dravidian race itself given by British. Cardwell gives us. There is no reference in the Tamil literature, race called Dravida. In all Indian literature, there is no reference that race called Dravid. It's a place. It's a place surrounded by water. That word Dravidam itself, Sanskrit word. Where is the question of asking oneness about this land, Tamil land, about the word Dravidam? And now the Udayanidhi says, I am a grandson of Karunanidhi, Mr. Karunanidhi. I will not say apology. See, one has to, Mr. Uday has to understand. Your grandfather Karunanidhi made an apology about the derogatory statement against the Hindu. He turned upside down. Once Karunanidhi said, all Hindus, Hindu means thief. When the matter come to the court, he without hesitation, he turned upside down. He said, no, I am not saying that meaning, this meaning. It is likely to be an apology. That's their history. Even E.V. Ramasamy made his own apology in various court cases, various circumstances. There, even once Karunanidhi said, God Rama, studied in which engineering college, how did he constructed Ram Setu? So, vengeance on Hindus are in the gene of DMK. Anti-national mentality, they're in the genes of DMK. And as well as, they are the separatists. You may know that Simon Commission. All India opposed it. Our Lala Lajapati Rai, while the protest of opposing Simon Commission, he was brutally attacked by British people and died. For those, for retaliation for that incident, Bhagat Singh sentenced for death imprisonment. But the same Simon Commission warmly welcomed by E.V. Ramasamy and DMK, this Dravidian group. These are all their history. Even E.V. Ramasamy wrote a letter to Mohammed
Mr. Ashwathaman, you have made a long introductory remark. Sorry to intervene. And you have put a mix of a political and a historical and a cultural argument, which makes your argument that much more solid. The point is this, that he has now brought his politics down to this. He's quite clear. He's from a political family, right? He knows what he is doing, right? And his father is chief minister, his grandfather was chief minister. He knows exactly what he's doing. And what he is doing is positioning himself as a prominent anti-Hindu leader. Anti-Hindu leader, which raises a question that is basically telling the people of Tamil Nadu to stop being Hindus, to stop believing in Hindu rituals, tradition. Now, he's a Christian. Nobody will stop him from going to church on Sunday. But what he's saying is that I will institutionalize anti-Hindu policies. I will, as chief minister, and he's holding a government position, Pullarao. It is very different if he's speaking in an individual capacity. He's the deputy chief minister of Tamil Nadu is saying, I will eradicate Hinduism. That means he's taken a position on it and he's made the statement suo moto. No mic there, Pullarao, remember? No reporter asking a question. He's saying, I am Karunanidhi's grandson and I will not apologize for what I said about Sanatan Dharma, which means he's making Hindu phobia part of Tamil Nadu government policy. Now, Pullarao, I don't know if you're a Hindu, but how will Hindus feel about this, that our deputy chief, that the government is anti-Hindu?
Well,
if the government is anti-Hindu, then we are in a very, very, very worrying situation.
See, first of all, you lauded the historical background which my good friend has given. History sometimes is just dredging back, going back and dredging out things which you like. You know, history is both ways.
So what would you call the destruction of more than 1 lakh temples across India by the Mughal and other people from the Sultanate? Is that also irrelevant? Should we forget it?
Condemnable. Why didn't they do anything at that time? Because we were passive. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Hindus are not passive now.
Now, fair enough. Now, you know, we can make equal amount of noise. Let me come to what, you know, Udayanithi Stalin can defend himself.
What would he feel if someone were to say that about his own religion? What would he say if someone were to say that about his own religion?
No, you have given our friend 10 minutes. Let me have 2 minutes.
No, but I have a question. How would you think he would react if someone were to say that about his own religion?
Probably he'll do nothing. I don't know whether he's...
Really?
I mean, my observation is, see, religion also is a convenient cloak for politics
No. Religion is... For you, religion may be a cloak.
You know that...
For you, religion may be a cloak.
When politicians wear religion, you know very well what they say about that. You know very well. Let me just say one thing. I just want to say, in September 2023, he made some comments. Courts commented on it. Everybody said whatever they like, condemnable, fair enough. Now what he said was, I was misinterpreted. I only said the bad part. Rights for women, education for women, and casteism, which is what our constitution is saying, which is what every political party is saying today. You know, Nari Shakti. What is Nari Shakti? That's what he's saying. He's saying it in a language that he knows. Having come to that, he says I was misinterpreted. And then, you know, that itself is a great explanation. As an observer, I feel that he has clarified. He says, I didn't say that. They misinterpreted it. They dragged me to court. Now they say, I never said anything wrong. Now they want me to apologize. And then he says, you know, I am Karunanidhi's grandson. I am bold enough not to apologize for something I didn't do.
I think that you are trying to, you see, you are also part of the camp that is trying to misinterpret and misrepresent the world's most ancient religion as a bunch of irrational ritualistic activities. And I must say with the greatest of respect that you may know very little about it. The point is on a political point. See, he is not a social reformer. He's been an actor. I don't know what history he has in social reform or what understanding he has of Hinduism. And my advice to Udaynidhi would be that if you don't know anything about anything, don't behave like Rahul Gandhi and start talking. Best option for you, if you don't know anything about a subject, keep quiet about it. Now, second point. See, there's a history. You see, didn't T.R. Balu boast about demolishing temples? Would any political leader from the DMK like T.R. Balu or Udaynidhi ever boast about demolishing church or mosques? But they boast about demolishing temples. Am I wrong? Did he not say, I demolished a 100-year-old temple, a Saraswati temple, I demolished a Lakshmi temple, I demolished a Parvati temple. All the 3 temples were in my constituency. It was on the GST road. I demolished the 100-year-old temples. I know how to get the votes. So you are linking breaking of temples to getting votes. Whose votes? The anti-Hindu group? Why do you boast about breaking temples? Did he not do that? You support that, Pularao? You support a political leader who comes and says, give me a medal, I broke temples?
I don't.
Then why is, my point is, I live in a secular country, so-called, where a lot of pseudo-secular people are boasting about breaking temples. Why are they boasting about breaking temples? If this is a secular country, that can't be allowed.
If you want to talk about secularism, I'm ready, but this is not the issue.
But Karunanidhi said, who is Ram? In which engineering college did he study?
Yeah.
Which year did he become a civil engineer? Where is this so-called bridge?
The same Karunanidhi invited Satya Sai Baba, Anantapur.
I don't want to know that. No. 1 minute. Please get. I don't. No. His change of heart is not my point. Point is, he's insulting my religion. He is insulting my religion. I'm not going to sit quiet about it. I'm not going to sit quiet about it. The point is, he's deliberately targeting Hinduism.
You see, if you want to transgress and link it with politics, they should do good politics. The BJP, they're not doing good politics, obviously. They're getting 5% votes, 3% votes. The other side is getting 50% votes.
No. Did they not? You bring it down to votes? Do you think that is proof of the fact that their decision to deny permission to conduct rituals like the Patina Pravesam was correct?
No.
To ban the LED screening of the Sri Ram temple consecration ceremony?
No, that is...
You want to ban the screening of the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha ceremony? You think people of Tamil Nadu will forget that they are Hindus because of these activities? They won't. But I want Ashwathaman to respond.
See, as you said, I wanted to tell this. Udaynidhi started his career as a comedy actor. That is his history. Now also he is doing his own comedy with Sanatan Dharma. He used to say, I will eradicate Sanatan Dharma. Mr. Udaynidhi, your forefathers British trying for this lot, hectic. They are trying for hectically. They did not do so. Mughals are not your forefathers according to your ideology. But they are also tried. You are a small, very small, tiny object before Hindu Dharma, because Hindu Sanatan Dharma means it is Nilayanadu. We used to say in Tamil, it's Sanatan means it's Sanatan. No one can question, shake that. Even your forefathers, British, are not able to do so.
Viewers.
One thing, sir.
Closing,
not only Karnanidhi, sir, and as well as Stalin also used to say, reproaching Hinduism, reproaching mantras while solemnizing marriage, he given his fabricated, deformative, derogatory meaning to the Hindu mantras while solemnizing marriage. That is our, that is their
well, there is a counter to this, and I can tell you, the counter to this is that there is very strong Hindu mobilization in Tamil Nadu. Very strong Hindu mobilization in Tamil Nadu that is happening on the ground. It has reflected in recent political results. It may reflect more in the future. Anyway, I thank you very much, gentlemen, for taking part in that 1 versus 1 debate and the big breaking story. Viewers, please remember, continues to be the Modi-Xi Jinping bilateral tomorrow, which has happened just in the aftermath of both sides confirming a little bit of a thaw on the situation on the LAC. Now, viewers, in the given situation, what does this mean for the Russia-China-India relationship? Asia and Russia coming together vis-a-vis America. That's a huge and live debate coming to you at 10 o'clock, a global debate when I'm back.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Co-powered by Jaguar Bath & Light.
In the India Today Best Universities 2023 survey, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School Bengaluru.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. All I want is a touch of love.
The announcement this afternoon that India and China have made a strategic decision to resolve part of the military standoff across the line of actual control is very, very significant. Because this comes at a time when the United States is using its deep state trying to build pressure on India through different instruments. And then the US wants to do that and use India as a pawn in their game against China. So when we say that we are individually one-to-one solving our problems with China, we are not saying we have a great relationship with China, but we are fixing it. When we do that, the United States and its deep state will be very unhappy, because all that the US has been doing has been building a sense of fear that the only hope for India in case of an armed or military conflict with China is Washington. And I say we can't trust Washington. Washington is wily. It only looks at its own interests. It has the biggest financial stake in China itself and is only expecting to use India as a lever to pressurize China. So it's very good that we are resolving as much as we can on our own with China. It's not 100%, but we are getting there, because once we start solving our problem with China on our own terms, then we can deal with both China and the US on equal terms. And 2 years, 3 years, we'll be the world's third largest economy after the US and China. We must start playing the game this way. This week, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Kazan for the BRICS meeting, he will meet both Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. And by resolving at least a large part of the problem with China, by resuming joint patrolling as was announced along the LAC, both India and China are signaling that they are working together to fix the problem, and Uncle Sam can just stay out. In any case, viewers, we must not depend solely or even principally on American intervention for us. It is not our backup. in case of a conflict. So you will ask, what is our backup then? Our only backup are two things: our financial reserves and our military muscle. These are our only backups. They will constantly be our only backups. One more thing, Rahul Gandhi should understand that while he is busy lunching and signing secret agreements with the Chinese, the Modi government is clearing up the mess created by the Sonia Manmohan government.
I can confirm that there will be a bilateral meeting held between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping tomorrow, 23rd of October, on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. The exact time and other logistics are being worked out, but the meeting will take place tomorrow.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Co-powered by Jaguar Bath & Light.
In the India Today Best Universities 2023 survey, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School Bengaluru.
Director, the taste of success.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys with roses. I'm too busy, baby, making plans on how to get me one of them manly men. All I want is a touch of love.
Give us what you stole from us! Our bones, our skulls, our babies, our people! You destroyed our land! Give us the treaty! This is not your land! This is not your land! You are not my kids! You are not our kids!
Well, I got carried out by the AFP, so I didn't get a chance to look around on who was supporting me, but I certainly got a few nods from Aboriginal people in the room to show that they support my resistance, which is...
I can confirm that there will be a bilateral meeting held between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping tomorrow, 23rd of October, on the sidelines of the BRICS summit. The exact time and other logistics are being worked out, but the meeting will take place.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Co-powered by Jaguar Bath & Light.
We're now in the bunker that we found underneath a Lebanese house in a Shia village only a couple of kilometers from our border. This bunker was ready for Radwan forces, for a battalion of Radwan forces to enter into this bunker and do a raid into Israel and do a larger scale of massacre than the 7th of October. They were planned with the motorcycles here to go to Kiryat Shmona, to Iftach, to villages.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Goswami on the debate.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me tell you the way I see it. The way I see it, viewers, Ukraine-Russia war, battle, whatever you call it, is on. It'll be on for some time. But as far as America versus Russia is concerned, Russia's already won. And let me tell you why. The fundamental premise with which the Americans got into it, pumped in so much money behind Zelensky, behind Ukraine, billions of dollars, bankrolled Ukraine, put in all kinds of sanctions on Russia, seized Russians' assets, almost $500 billion, was basically to isolate Russia. The idea was to teach Russia a lesson and make an example of that to the rest of the world, that if Russia stepped out of line, it would be put in place by isolating it, the rest of the world would come together. And that is principally, essentially, what has been going on, what the Americans entered this, and this is why the battle has been on for more than 2 years. And as far as that is concerned, my view is that Putin has won because the Americans have completely failed to isolate Russia. This BRICS Summit 2024 is a sharp contrast to last year's BRICS Summit. Last year, I remember the BRICS Summit, there was Vladimir Putin participating on one side of a video screen, unable to attend in person due to an arrest warrant from an international criminal court for alleged war crimes over Ukraine. And look at how things have changed right now. This time, more than a dozen significant world leaders are attending the BRICS inauguration ceremony. This includes Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Chinese President Xi Jinping, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, Egyptian President El-Sisi, and Ethiopian President Abiy Ahmed, among others. Not just that, this is almost half the world's population being represented this time. This is 45% of the world's population, ladies and gentlemen. Their economies together are a staggering close to $30 trillion. The main interest the Russians have, along with the Chinese, is breaking the dominance of the US dollar. That may not happen this time, but the fact is that Russia is seeing an upswing in terms of its global activity. It's been 3 years that America has been trying to isolate Russia. And the one message that comes out of this BRICS summit, after Russia has defied 16,500 American sanctions, basically aimed at crippling its economy, it continues to be the third largest arms exporter in the world. And they're going to spend $145 billion in defense expenditure, spending 7% of their GDP almost on defense. Viewers, if after all of this, the Americans don't get a message that they have lost. And that's the story that I want to lead with tonight. The fact is, the American spin masters can put it any which way. But if the intent was to cripple Russia by isolating Russia, you have not crippled Russia, Americans. You've not been able to isolate Russia. I'm not getting into the merits of what the Russian position, American position are. The fact is, in terms of pure grand strategy, the grand strategy of the Americans was to isolate Putin and isolate Russia, and hence teach a lesson that would go beyond Russia. In that, they have abysmally, completely, disastrously, ladies and gentlemen, failed this time. As Putin takes part in an emerging coalition of world leaders standing with him, I'm not saying behind him, but standing with him, the American attempt to isolate Russia from the global stage has come to an end. And with that, a change in the world order. The world order is shifting. A new world order is speaking. Russian isolation is ending. That's where the story is, and that's where the rest of the story will now begin. Let's debate.
The optics couldn't have been better. With 5 new members and 32 other nations wanting to join BRICS, Russia's apparent geopolitical isolation is all but over. Since the start of the Ukraine war in 2022, Russia has faced Western ire, President Putin even getting arrest warrants.
Erstens,
Die Ukraine kann sich auf uns verlassen. Zweitens ist es eine klare Botschaft an Putin. Ein Spiel auf Zeit wird nicht funktionieren. Wir werden in unserer Unterstützung für die Ukraine nicht nachlassen.
Putin has the gall to say he's denazifying Ukraine. It's a lie. It's just cynical. He knows that. And it's also obscene. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Despite all this criticism, diplomatic rush hour in Kazan, venue of the 16th BRICS Leaders Summit, shows how strongly multipolar the world has become, with Russia still holding forth. As possibly the only truly non-aligned nation which is heard on both the sides, this is also the moment for India and Prime Minister Modi under the sun to be showcasing our position as a major geopolitical pole. Be it the key pre-opening bilateral with President Putin, or the acknowledgement from Putin himself to Giorgia Meloni of Italy that Prime Minister Modi can play a crucial role in peace in Europe. Both the global north and the global south indeed seem to be turning to India. However, the US was quick to put out its veiled stance on the BRICS Summit 2024, playing down the significance. But with all the action at the BRICS Summit in Kazan, has the West now realized that eliminating Russia from the global stage remains nearly impossible in today's global order.
Let's look at this in terms of geopolitical communication strategy. Sushant Sareen from Delhi, Konstantin Krylov is Secretary General of the Eurasian Chapter of the Universal Peace Federation from Moscow. Pelman Grigory is Co-Chairman of One Future Business and Cultural International Forum from Moscow. And we have communication strategist Anang Mittal joining us from Washington. Anang, has America failed? I mean, it's time for them to acknowledge the whole idea to isolate Russia has not gone anywhere.
Well, thank you for having me. I don't think America has failed. I think the longer geostrategic implications of the Ukraine war and the continuing sanctions are still to play out. But I do think that it's very obvious that, as you said, since the last BRICS summit, that Mr. Putin is not going away anytime soon, and neither is Mr. Xi. So I think we have to look at this BRICS summit, and especially Prime Minister Modi's appearance there, the various agreements that he's been talking about that have been hinted at as a sign of India's strategic independence. And I think America, with the tensions that America's had with India, this Canada controversy, I think it's very clear that American pressure is simply not, as strong as it was during the post-Cold War era or even during the Cold War. And I think Americans have to own up to that. The American foreign policy has to own up to that and simply agree to it. And I think some of the folks in Biden's cabinet are pretty aware of it, even though they may not want to admit it. But I do think that America, is going to continue to place pressure on all the countries and is going to continue to pursue its own foreign policy, its own interest. But it has to understand that other countries are also going to pursue their own interests, and that those do not necessarily align all the time, 100%, with America. So certainly, Mr. Modi being there, shaking hands with Mr. Xi and Mr. Putin, is going to provide that answer, is going to provide that image that, yes, India and China don't see eye to eye. Maybe India and Russia sometimes don't see eye to eye, but they're certainly not going to be this sort of, I'm only friends with one person and I'm only friends with one side. As you said, we're entering into the multipolar world, and that just America is just going to have to sit back and swallow that reality.
I mean, the Americans can't say now that we are too busy with the elections to look at what's going on in BRICS. I can tell you all eyes are on BRICS. How is this being positioned in Moscow internally? How is Putin positioning this? Konstantin, can you tell us more about that? How is Putin positioning this BRICS summit?
BRICS summit is very important for Russia and for the Russian people. And this summit is more than economy, more than politics. It's really about brotherhood, because it's not that all the nations coming to Russia are supporting or agreeing with what Russia is doing. However, they all express brotherly unity and they can talk to each other. So really, I see the emergence of BRICS is not as rivalry to the United States, but as an attempt to mend the mistakes that occurred after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the United States triumphalism over that collapse, and the lacking issues in the United Nations as well. So if BRICS really develops well, then all those issues can be gone, and that could be a good unity. So it's not about winning over someone, but it's a win-win that is expected. This is how I see it from Moscow.
Well, absolutely. Sushant, there's a bilateral between Putin and Xi Jinping, and there's a bilateral between Modi and Xi Jinping tomorrow, following the bilateral between Modi and Putin today, right? There were two parts of what was going on for the last 2 years: a diplomatic war to isolate Russia, and then the military conflict. Would you say the diplomatic war is now all but over for America?
Well, in some ways it is over, because frankly, it was a silly thing to even think that they could isolate a country like Russia. Now, even though diminished, Russia remains a great power. And how do you isolate a great power? You can't do it. And if Russia had nothing in its stock, then maybe it might have still been possible. But Russia is a superpower when it comes to energy supplies, its defense industry, in a range of other fields. Russia is a very powerful country. So how do you actually isolate a country which has a global footprint? I think the Americans should have sensed that and should not have gone down that road. Secondly, even as far as the war is concerned, I can understand Western and American and some of the other countries, their concerns, their anger with Russia for the war in Ukraine. Perhaps one can understand it, one can even explain it. But the fact is that trying to continuously agitate this war, trying to prolong it, I don't know how much sense it makes. Maybe they should have used their diplomatic capital to try and bring this war to an end, or at least some kind of a ceasefire taking place, so that the kind of casualties and the destruction which we have seen was not going to happen. But unfortunately, I think it then translates into a kind of a proxy war. A dead Ukrainian works well for the West. The Ukrainians are, in a manner of speaking, fighting their war for them against Russia. And why would they want to fight against Russia? There is no clarity. Why would they want to kind of continuously finger Russia? No clarity on that. But they wanted to do it. It is almost like they wanted a conflict like this to emerge, which simply didn't make any sense. Now look, the other problem with the West really, and which is the most galling thing, I can understand a country which has an Idi Amin, who's carrying out massacres and genocide, or a Pol Pot or somebody like that. But you want to have every country under your thumb because you don't agree with their system, you don't agree with their democracy. But when it comes to Pakistan, where there has been a wholesale theft of an election, you think it's still a democratic country. When it comes to other countries like, say, Egypt or some of the other countries, you have no compunctions in dealing with their rulers or their regimes or their governments. But when it comes to Russia, you want to continuously finger it, you want to undermine it. I don't know what strategic sense there was in doing this and then pushing the Russians into the open and waiting arms of the Chinese. You are having
it's a mess. It's a mess.
The Chinese, and you push the Russians in the Chinese camp. I don't know what strategic myopia was guiding the so-called great strategists.
No, there is no strategy. I'm sorry to intervene there, Sushant, but my own view is that we have overestimated American foreign policy. There is no strategy. It is all being run by the American deep state. Biden has been a puppet president. He's going and Putin's becoming stronger. And he is going, and there's a horrifying thought for some people who follow foreign policy that Kamala Harris will come in. But, internally in America also, Trump is going to go around strutting, saying, I told you so, you messed up. If I had been in charge, I would have solved this issue instead of pumping hundreds of billions behind Zelensky, who's unstable. The situation is extremely serious. Now, before I go back to Washington, I want to go to Pelman Grigori from Moscow. We are also hearing here, Mr. Grigori, that UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will also be visiting, where he could also have a bilateral with Vladimir Putin. If there is a meeting between the UN Secretary General and Putin as well, besides 20 bilateral meetings that Putin will have with different world leaders, what is the message you think which will go out globally?
Yes, I think it's a very important message to all over the world, not only for the global south, that political situation and the wishes for the new order is very, very strong in position now. And even Secretary General of United Nations came to this summit just to talk with Mr. Putin to see what is going on. So I think it's absolutely a new situation worldwide. And this new situation must be taken in consideration of actual not only diplomacy, global diplomacy, not only in a global south and collective west, but also all over the world. And this is a really very important event based not only on a friendly position, but it's based on absolutely different principles and different values. It was a very interesting mention by Mr. Putin several days ago on a business forum what took place in Moscow. And this message was correspondent to Mr. Modi, that BRICS is not against West. BRICS is just not a West. It's based on the different values, on common values of different countries who joined this unity association. It's open association. Nobody wants to dominate there. It's mostly based on a bilateral friendship and bilateral cooperation between two countries. And you can see that this new form of association can accept even countries from different political and military unions, from different economical systems. And it's really absolutely new in our history, in our civilization. And I think it's a very good lighthouse for everybody in the world, how we need to change the world in the future on a open-based, not try to dominate on anybody and try to be friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
And what is the most important, it's just to find trust to each other. This is the most basic platform, what is necessary to go forward on diplomacy.
I think this is the biggest, I mean, maybe not military, biggest setback for America since Vietnam. Without doubt. I think Joseph Chalil, I think the Americans are going to have to come to terms with it for a long time. And I don't think the American media is telling them the real story that they've lost. Essentially, I look upon the BRICS summit, the presence of the UN Secretary General, the presence of Narendra Modi, Xi Jinping, the presence of all these world leaders, the global south backing Russia, and economic and defense cooperation between them becoming stronger. In fact, the West has lost Russia as a market, and Russian economy is outpacing Europe. The Russian economy is growing faster than the US. The World Bank has just declared Russia a high-income economy. Their industry has rebounded. Their unemployment rate has gone down. So Russia has really done well. And you can only see what's happening to Europe and what's happening to America. I mean, it's been a mistake. Can there be any pulling back? Can there be any pulling back for America now? Or will that have to wait till after the results of the elections?
In 3 weeks, you will know the results. I mean, November 5th, you will see the election results. What's been happening is, for the past 4 years, the weak U.S. leadership had empowered the deep state to become more powerful. And you just have to follow the money. Who's benefiting from all these conflicts, from whether the Israeli conflict in the Middle East, or is the Russia-Ukraine conflict, money of the industrial defense industrial complex in the U.S. Most of the industries in the U.S. are privatized. Most of the companies which make guns and and armaments and flights and missiles and even missile defense systems, all privatized American corporations, and their main interest is keeping the conflict alive. So looks like they will lose if a strong leadership comes in and put an end to this and bring in world peace. So unfortunately, a weak President Biden had let an upper hand to this defense industrial complex. I remember 20 years ago, the Republican Party was a pro-war party in the U.S. Now that's completely changed. Now Kamala Harris and the Democrats are the pro-war party. They don't want peace. There's
going to be no support for them. No. But Joseph, on that, I just want to throw again to Mr. Mittal. They can't. This is terrible news for them at this stage of the election, for the whole Obama-Kamala Harris campaign, because Trump and Trump supporters are going to say, you lost. You embarrassed America. And this is going to go wildly against them. Anand.
That's right. And you have to remember that the Obama-Biden policy of 2008 till 2012 was to approach rapprochement with Russia, to be friendly to Russia, to say that Russia was not a problem. Mr. Obama famously in the 2012 election said, this is a Cold War mentality, that Russia is our enemy. So I think the double dealing, the hypocrisy, the double standard is certainly there. It's certainly something that has not escaped the American viewers, the American audience, and the American voters. And I think that's going to continue in this election. I think most likely what you're going to see if Mr. Trump is elected is going to be a change in the views that the American foreign policy views are going to change. But I'm not sure if that's going to end the Ukraine war, but it's certainly going to make the right moves towards a more peaceful negotiation, possibly the right moves towards even being more friendly to India. If BRICS is the new a thing in town, then Mr. Trump is certainly going to want to make a deal. He loves to make deals. He loves to do bilateral. So he will certainly ratchet up his foreign policy, his diplomacy, to make sure that India doesn't fully fall into the Russia-China sphere, and I think that's understandable. And I think, like I said,
are Americans seeing this? Anand, are Americans seeing this? Is the American media even covering this, or are they downplaying it, or are they trying to say nothing's happening? Do the American people realize they just lost at the global stage? Do they even realize that?
No, I don't think so. I think the American media is certainly not going to be playing this. It's playing up more on social media, where a lot of Americans now are getting their news. And I think this is, again, why when Mr. Modi was here in September, the New York Times sent their the smallest of correspondents with the very small portfolio, not the national security correspondent. So, the American media kind of has blinders on about these things. And so most likely the place where you're going to see a lot more of this kind of engagement and understanding is going to be on social media.
No, but it will go out. It will go out. I think that's why Russia today was also bad, because they realized the Americans don't want the news to go out that they lost. Konstantin, what's the PR machinery of Russia going to do at the end of the BRICS summit? I'm sure they're also going to be working overtime now.
Russia is looking for friends, and if BRICS grows, more friends will join. But I want also to make sure that we all understand that Russian government and Russian people don't see the United States as the eternal enemy of Russia. Russia actually borders with the United States through the Bering Strait. And until today, Russia is building the railway towards that border. And in addition, the Russian government, until very recently, was developing a plan of building a tunnel through Bering Strait to connect Russia and the United States. So this situation, everybody understands, this situation is temporary, but on a global scale, Russia and US are partners forever.
That's a very important statement.
Don't see America as an enemy.
Very important statement. Pelman, you want to comment on that, Grigory? Could things completely change?
I think it's a really very important statement that American people, Russian people are really friendly, and it's a temporary situation and not permanent to go forward. And I think really it's very important to go forward on the way of BRICS, to continue all this community, to increase this community, and at the same time to develop the trust, and trust not only inside the global south, but a trust also with the Western countries, with the collective West.
Very interesting.
And
I think all the words I'm hearing tonight, show a beginning of a long period or maybe a short period of major change. Sushant, the setting is all right. The only thing that's uncertain is the American election. So all of this, then the result of the American election, Trump comes in, and we could have a very different end to the year. Very different end to the year. But what happens if Kamala comes in?
I don't know. Joseph was very confident that the result we'll know on November 5th. But if American elections are anything to go by, you might not know the results ever, because or it might take weeks, maybe months, court cases. It's a broken election system. There are the kind of allegations we used to hear in India in the 1970s and 80s, when you still had, the ballot boxes and stuff like that, and you had booth capturing and fake voting and stuff like that. That's the United States today. Imagine this is supposedly the superpower, the hyperpower of the world. And they can't run an election. Their election machinery is broken. The electoral system is broken. So I don't know. Let's hope that they can throw up a result on 5th of November. And it's a result which everyone accepts. For example, in India, regardless of whether you like the outcome of an election or not, everybody accepts the result, and you move forward. In the United States, nobody accepts the result anymore. It's more like Pakistan now.
Oh, well, let's see. The problem also
is budget, but on a more substantive note, I heard some very optimistic noises from our Russian friends out here. I'm afraid I'm not as optimistic as they are. That might be the Russian position, that they don't see either people in Europe or in the United States as their enemy, and probably it is the Russian position. I'm not so confident whether that's the position in the United States and in Europe. In large parts of Western Europe, they look at, even though their countries are being destroyed from inside through migration and all sorts of other things, they still consider the greatest existential threat to them coming from Russia. The same is the case with the Americans, that once they've declared someone their enemy, regardless of the fact that for almost 20 odd years, even longer, they had reasonably good relations with Russia. But the moment any state starts exercising a degree of autonomy, of action, I think that pisses off the Americans. They cannot handle it. They want a country to be subservient. They want a country to be entirely obsequious to them. And one of the reasons why we see the kind of new fronts that have been opened up against India, whether it's in relation to Bangladesh, what's happened out there, whether it's on this whole Khalistani issue, which they seem to be pandering and sponsoring and supporting, it is because they think that India is not obedient enough. India is not being obsequious to them. India is not listening to them. India is keeping autonomy, of action in its store. And that's something they don't want.
They'll have to change the way, Sushant, they look at things.
Plus to sit, we should sit.
Yeah, they'll have to change the way they look at things. For me, the bigger...
Arnab, come on. Look, it takes a long time for an imperial power, which in some ways the United States is, to understand that...
So I take your point.
When the Zamidar's serf becomes the IAS officer in India, the Zamidar can't handle it.
I tell you here, Americans will have to understand nobody is their serf. But I'll tell you the real problem in America. The real problem in America is that they have become insular. They know more about Taylor Swift than what is happening in the rest of the world. That is the America's problem. They are not engaged with the rest of the world. And I think when half the world's population comes together in Kazan and are holding hands together, and America is not invited to the party, then the Americans need to make this a subject of their political debate. I thank you all. We're watching very closely, eagerly to Narendra Modi's bilateral with Xi Jinping. That's tomorrow, and we'll be live on that. Viewers, for the biggest breaking news stories from India and around the world, it is only and only and only Republic. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
In the India Today Best Universities 2023 survey, India's #1 ranked universities in various streams are JNU Delhi, Amity University, AIMS Delhi, IIT Delhi, and National Law School Bengaluru.
I don't care for no songs and proses. I don't care for no sweet boys.